Good morning, watch nerds. Welcome to my channel and welcome to what I believe is only the second review of this particular watch on YouTube. Before I go any further, I should apologise for the lack of content I've recently posted. However, as I normally review my own collection and I have a sell to buy policy and the market is very flat at the moment, there have been very few watches for me to review, if you see what I mean. If this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, please allow me to tell you what it's all about. I'm not here to sell you anything, and I'm not here to sell myself either. My intention is to spend about 10 minutes telling you about any given watch in order you can make up your own mind if you want to buy one or not. Now, when I'm in a position and considering a purchase myself, that's exactly what I want to see. So I hope I can help. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the Parnis Explorer GMT. Of course, Parnis are a Chinese brand, as are many quality brands and many other brands that claim to be produced in other countries. This watch is listed on the Parnis site for $120, which means if you live in the UK as I do, and you convert dollars to pounds and then add VAT, it's going to cost you about £110. And have a look around, as you may even get them cheaper. In fact, I just had a look on the AliExpress site, and you can pick one up for £79, but again, don't forget the import duty. Bearing the price in mind, don't expect to get a perfectly executed timepiece, but do expect to get exceptional value for money. That said, it's up to you to make your own mind up on this. It's also worth noting that nearly all Parnis watches are homages, and of course this one's no different. And this is my watch of the day. I've gone a little bit dressy. It's the Seagull 1951. So this is the box that it arrived in. It's okay, it's nothing special, but what do you expect for the money? I should add, in days gone by, they didn't give you a box at all unless you purchased it from their own site, and that would have cost you a lot more money. So let's have a look at the all important dimensions. Now the case is 40mm and the lug width is 20mm. The lug to lug is 47.5mm and the depth, including a flat but slightly raised sapphire crystal and sapphire cyclops, is around 12.7mm. Once adjusted to fit my 17cm wrist, it weighs in at about 140 grams. I don't have a lot of experience with this movement, but having read up on it, it would appear to be okay, but I have no idea regarding its longevity. It's the DG3804 made by Bingzu, which is possibly a clone of a Myoto 8000 movement, but I'm not really sure. It ticks away at 21,600 beats per hour, hacks, hand winds, and it's got a unidirectional bezel. And it's got a power reserve of around about 40 hours. Now, despite what it says on the dial, it's actually got 22 joules, not 21. Now, because I'm moving this one on, I haven't worn it, so I can't tell you how accurate it is in real life. However, this is what it looks like on the time grapher. And how good is this? A 0 beat error, a very good amplitude, and a fantastic rate. The signed chunky 7mm crown screws down, and the winding, although a little bit gritty, offers little resistance, which is a good thing. Surprisingly, the engagement is very smooth, and it's got a seal. Now, this may be a good time to discuss the water resistance. Parnis have always covered themselves by giving most of their watches a 30-metre water resistance rating, even though they've got sealed screw-down backs and sealed screw-down crowns. It's my guess this watch would be perfectly okay to swim or snorkel with, but of course, I can make no guarantee of that. Moving on to the bracelet. The watch comes with this oyster style or a choice of a Jubilee. Now, as I have no experience of the Jubilee, I can't make any comments on it. However, this oyster style bracelet isn't bad at all. Now, the links are solid, they're brushed on the top to a pretty good standard, and they're polished on the sides. Like the watch it homages, the end links are male, but they do drop straight down, so it's not a problem even if you've got smaller wrists. Surprisingly, there are screw pins for adjustment, which incredibly are pretty well engineered. Spend £700 on a Hamilton Murph and you get push pins. Overall, it's pretty well made, it's quite comfortable, and to be honest, the bracelet is probably worth as much as you pay for the watch. Now the clasp has got some good points and some bad points. First of all, the good points. It's milled, it's got 3 micro adjustments and it's got double pushers for security. The downside is that this part of the clasp sits here rather than here. That means if you've got small wrists but large hands, you may struggle to get it on. However, it does have this little sort of diver's extension, and that'll make life easier for you. The case is fairly simple, but to be fair, it's pretty well executed. The sides are polished to a reasonable standard, and the tops are vertically brushed, and may I add, the brushing is pretty damn good. All in all, I don't really have any complaints with the case, which considering the price is quite incredible. And the fixed bezel isn't my favourite part of the watch, as I think the numerals are just a tad misaligned. And I think they're a little bit chunky for my liking as well. However, the circular brushing is very good, like the rest of the case and the bracelet. Flip it over and you get a plain back that screws down. Unfortunately, you will need either one of those Rolex type removal tools, or one of those rubber ball things. That may work, but it depends how tight the back is. Well, the dial may not be originally designed, but unless you're prepared to sell your car, at least one kidney, then wait 5 years, you're not going to get the Rolex, I'm afraid. Now there's a minute track on the outer part of the gloss dial, then chrome surrounded indices filled with some type of blue lume. Unfortunately, the lume isn't brilliant, so don't bother buying one if you expect to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be able to read it. Now this is what the lume looks like when it's first charged. Below the 12 o'clock in capital letters it reads Parnis, then below that in black text it reads mechanical movement, and the third line it reads automatic. I can't help but wonder why they bothered to use the second line. Above the 6 o'clock it reads water resistance, and we've covered that already, as we have the 21 jewel statement, when in actual fact there's 22. The Mercedes style hands look pretty good without subjecting them to a macro shot, but what would be the point of that? Of course, the orange GMT hand gives the dial a splash of much needed colour. Now although I'm no lover of the Cyclops, it appears to be well aligned, and it actually magnifies the date, and like I said earlier, it's also made of sapphire. So what do I think of the Parnis GMT Explorer? Well, you get a pretty good bracelet and clasp, a well finished case and dial, and what appears to be a reasonable GMT movement. What's more, it's as cheap as chips. Now if you're either just starting up this hobby or simply don't have loads of dosh to splash around, seriously, consider a Parnis. Now that brings me to the end of this review, so if you've enjoyed it please click on the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.